Okay, hopefully I'm back. Okay, thank you for checking it. I just restart the computer. I don't know what was happening. It was just frozen and didn't want it to load any page or anything. So I think I just this is again me not being 100% sure what I'm doing. Actually, I think I destroyed my computer yesterday by pushing that pushing Blender to its limit when it comes to my computer. So I think that my computer is not ready for my creativity, I guess. So yeah, it's just kind of, yesterday was just yesterday was just loading and loading and loading of files, and you know, you just move a little piece and then just loading, and you wait and you wait and wait. And then I decided, okay, let's do a surface painting, right? So that was just our texture painting, I think it's called. And then and my computer decided to, okay, no, I'm done. And it just crashed. It was pretty funny yesterday, and I had to really work a lot. Yeah, it was extremely too much, and it's just really a small computer, so it's nothing like you know, it's not one of those high-end computers. So, but anyway, it's still good for streaming, hopefully, after, you know, hard restart. So it's always something that helps. Did you try to turn off and on your computer? So yeah, I have to probably invest in some better. Yeah, it's really. Yeah, I know. I'm not I'm in the market for a new PC, but I was checking the investment that I would have to do, and I don't think I'm ready to pay that much for a computer, if that makes sense. You know, so. But you know, then, you know, on the other hand, I just got the almost 1,000 euros for a canvas. So, you know, it's just it's difficult to, you know, just to prioritize certain things. So yeah, let's get back to this fragment painting. So, you know, I hope that everything is all right at this point. So I'm definitely going to, and I like this little stick. I forgot how I like to, you know, lean on it and point things. I used to have like a multiple of these they were hollow. I don't know where did I put them. They have to be somewhere around here because I used to put the brushes on it, so you can actually, you know, work from a distance. Especially on the larger canvases. But I think that this needs to be really addressed, because again, he's all flat, and I have to create that Z dimension, right? So I need to create that depth within his clothes. So yeah, let's look at this. Let's look at this guy. Let's look at his feet, and maybe I can then actually I can work simultaneously on this side and on this side as well. Give it kind of a coherency a little bit more. I should lighten up this a little bit more, because I kind of like how it vibrates. You remember, I just push it with that. But I think I can go like with a yellow ochre right there, and the same with this, just to really pump that saturation. And then perhaps I could pump the saturation around this area as well. So I would create that atmospheric perspective, right? So areas right here that it's closer to us, it's more saturated, a little bit more vivid, and as it received in the background, it's getting closer and closer, not only on the tone but also on saturation, or chroma rather, if you wish. So that might be something that to look at as well. And then I shouldn't forget that I should probably put that necklace there. That would actually really help, because I could show that it's going here and then it's going out and down and back again, right? So it would give another area of interest. I just don't know if I can put anything else here into already a complicated area. And then I need to push the eyes a little bit more, so make them a little bit more with the depth, a little bit more transparent. But that's okay. That's not necessarily that important. But I'm just looking on certain things that I need to adjust to make them a little bit more up to what I want it to be, up to my standard. Oh, you mean the extended brushes? Actually, you would be surprised how beneficial that is. You would really be surprised, and that's actually one of the few things that I constantly have to remind myself to step back and get away from a painting. And when you are painting with something this long, you first of all, you really have to, your arm is just going to get tired very quickly, but then you are really focusing on the overall painting, because you can't really do a portrait with the brush this long. I mean, perhaps you can, but it's going to be more, you're going to do portraits right here, and you can paint this portrait by looking here and adjusting these two, or relating these two rather to each other. It's actually and this is not something that would be new. This has been done for ages. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, I have to, there's no other way. Maybe I could pump the saturation on the bottom a little bit. Yeah, let's do that. Let's just start off with some again, some having fun with certain areas and certain parts. I hope that I secured that canvas properly there. Yeah, well, we will see. We will see. So I pushed it a little higher because I want to really focus on certain that area. And you can see right now I can see it on the camera that when you go from bottom all the way to, this is what I'm talking about. You can see that from here, the bottom edge all the way here, I don't have any transition, so it kind of feels flat, so it doesn't recede into the background. So I should probably saturate this area right here, and then as it goes into background, it would stay as it is. And then goes, I just. I know that I was aware of this. It didn't pose that much of a problem for me, but I really checked emails that you sent me, and that this might be something that would be beneficial for you and for your painting as well, to look at that atmospheric perspective, and as it goes away from us, it's actually kind of losing a chroma and getting closer on chroma and value as well. Because another thing, everything that is more vivid, more chromatic, usually we read it as it protruding forward. So that's the way to create that kind of a distance. Maybe let's hit it with that. It doesn't seem like a something that would be that complicated to start with, since I really have just a little bit of just a little time to work with color. I'm going to try to use these very cheap brushes. Last time when I was using them, I just used it once and then it just fell apart. Let's see what's going to happen today. So let's saturate that a little bit. A little bit of just a touch of this guy. Okay, maybe I'll just and again I want to reuse this slightly drier pigment. And I don't want to use white right now because I really want it to be like high saturation. Let me see how. Okay, all right. And I'm not going to. First, I'm going to try to use it as a. I'm going to start with just laying down that like a wash of a pigment. So I'm going to work transparent and see what's going to happen. Yep. Just unfortunately this is not a good brush for that. It seems to be too soft. Oh. Testing. No. It wasn't that bad. It was just a quick observation that I could relate to my painting as well. And what I meant by that is that I think, and I'm talking about my painting right now. Sometimes I think that I know how it's going to look, and then I'm surprised when I'm putting it there. So. I should do it myself since I'm talking about it as well, only because it might be beneficial for me. And you can try to do it as well if you want to, but, and that's again, because I'm trying to create depth, right? if you're not trying to create depth, you are okay. You don't need to address that because we know that there's plenty of beautiful, beautiful. Landscapes that appear that they are flat. It's just because there is a different idea when it comes to I'm sorry because I'm focusing on this pigment here. What I wanted to say is just we were talking about the different painters from the different painters that they had different ideas, different era, and so on and so forth. So there is your decision. I think that I need to have that little bit more of that a saturation there, which going to lighten up the painting a little bit to make it a little bit more alive. I think that there was plenty of that in your. It was really beautifully saturated. It's just the same thing that I was talking about a lot with my painting as well. Is that if you saturate everything everywhere, then nothing is actually saturated, right? So when you look, I don't know, let's say we talked about Rembrandt a lot. So I try to change it up a little bit time to time, but it's not really happening that well. I have to always refer back to him when you think about that Night Watch. It's a similar thing. He just illuminates certain things, and some of them are just simply in background. Some of them are in monochromatic almost. And if you really want to go into that kind of I don't want to say hyperrealism, but when you look at Richard Schmid, we talk about him. He's a very famous landscape artist. Actually, I know him mostly for his landscapes, more than anything else. And again, I'm trying to, I chose this specific brush because I'm not trying to cover it everywhere equally. I'm just trying to create, and you can see immediately how that warmth bring it forward and that coolness is going into background. Right now, it does not have that gradation that I'm looking for. So I'm going to gradate this all the way here, or at least try to do that. So it kind of slowly dissipates into background. And I'm going over existing pigments as well as here, because I'm not afraid of this, only because I'm slowly going to introduce them. And because I talked about these reflections and so on and so forth. And perhaps right now even I'm thinking that maybe I can even push it a little bit more abstractly in terms of creating, I don't know, let's say creating a diagonal, right? So I'm going to push it a little higher here and a little lower here. So it's just that visually you have, with the background, you created another diagonal right here within the flat surface, right? And you can see this with painters doing this all the time. Again, Rembrandt, he didn't necessarily, excel with these things, but who would be a good example of this? Well, I said Richard Schmid because he really does this very well. Maybe from maybe from, oh yeah, course, I forgot someone that I like a lot, Andrew Wyeth. Or even, when you think about it, even Leonardo da Vinci did a similar thing. Except he was playing maybe a little bit more with the silhouettes rather than with atmospheric perspective, but he was definitely, and you can see right now the green looks like ultra saturated on the camera, but it's not that bad. But it changed overall feeling that, you know, something that is forward, it's a little bit more, it's kind of that, that richness that you would see when you're closer to it, and as it goes into the distance, it's really kind of, you know, that atmosphere starts to intersect or intervene rather. And it nicely also popped that shadow with almost like a, it almost right now feels too dark, right? Only because of that, that really punched saturation in the lower areas. So perhaps I could bring more of that. And then again, I put this really green a really high saturated orangey green foreground, or rather ground plane, and it suddenly changed the feeling of what is happening towards up. If I look for a long right here into that orangey part and I go up, it's just my eyes are not adjusted to that kind of a one value, one tone, kind of that, you know, monochromatic. So it kind of brings a little bit more of that, interest. Let me double check that with, yeah. And there is something, another thing that I'm not sure what to do right here. Where should I separate that? You know, it should be, like, because I need the horizon somewhere. It doesn't need to be there per se, but I would like to have it somewhere, because right now they look like a, you know, it's just a, you need to have that feeling of there is a one plane that goes into distance, and then you have something that cuts it. In this case, on this side I have it, on the other side I don't, right here. So I have to figure it out how to do it. It has to be like a really slow transition, something that, you know, I was talking about a lot when we did this bed painting Friday. What was I doing? The controller, for instance, you know, that soft edge in when it comes, you know, as it recede into background. Yeah, the only thing that we are missing right now, it's really high saturated red. And I think that the book, it has to go a little redder. I mean, it's really red, but I need to push it even more. And then again, this looks way too saturated right now, but as it dries out, as the pigment kind of, you know, sets in and sunk into a canvas, let me rephrase that. This is a, and you have to be aware of this, because I am using really opaque yellow ochre into glazing. So these areas, some of these areas are really going to stay as they are, and some of these areas are going to be semi-transparent, which creates that kind of a weird illusion, and I kind of like that. That's why I decided to do it. But if I want to, let's say, glaze something like this, and I want to keep the values, and I want to bring the saturation up, I would probably use some more transparent pigment. Maybe, I don't know. It's really hard to say for me at this point. It's just sometimes I don't know whether the pigment is opaque or transparent unless I, unless I start mixing it, because I don't remember every property of every pigment that I have on the palette. And you can see me being, again, hesitant, and the reason is because I'm thinking what to do and where to put it. Maybe a little bit more here. Maybe a little bit more here. Yeah, that kind of works. That kind of works. Yeah, a limited palette helps with this. Yes, you are absolutely right. Because there's not that many unknowns when it comes to mixing. So I have the greenish, kind of a orangish yellowish. Yeah, which is cool. Again, that was the same thing that I did with the sky. I just needed that little punch, little push, so I can adjust things accordingly. And let me just drop it down a little bit, so I can look at it with a mirror. Yeah, way better. And it got a little darker as well, so that kind of slowly push it. And maybe, this is what I'm going to do. Well, hopefully I'm not going to trip over. I think that this could be also, let's see it. Since I feel like this is the main diagonal right here, right, as they go into that kind of a spiral, but it's still pushing it this way. Maybe if I cut it the other way around, I would create a little bit more kind of a, or perhaps as they go here, I'll cut it right here, so I curve that. It might actually work. Maybe I'll just use a little bit of the redder pigment there. Yeah. Cool. Cool. I just got quiet for a second because I was reading your comment. Well, there is how to address this, because it's a little bit more, you are right, because you are a painter and you have experience with the pigments, but for someone that never painted before with oil paints or anything like that, and has more what would I put it? More like analytical mind would never be able to understand. I feel that it's a little bit more orangey. It's just a really, really difficult concept to grasp, and it was a really difficult concept to grasp for me as well. And I did these charts to understand my pigments. It's awesome if you don't need to do it, and you kind of, your eye and your brain picks it up naturally. It's awesome, and I wish I have that ability. I don't. That being said, the more I practice and more I, study these pigments, I reached the point that, okay, I know I have certain amount of knowledge that I accumulated. Right now I can start using it into my advantage and kind of break free from that. Oh, I have to mix with palette knife everything. I don't need to mix with the palette knife everything anymore, because I know that if I pick up the white, if I pick up the yellow ochre, and if I pick up a little bit of that vermilion, I'm going to get a skin tone. I don't need to be worried. I'm not saying that that's always a skin tone, but limited palette, that would be the skin tone. And then you can add a little bit more of a, and you can actually proceed with mixing white with black a little bit to get the value right, and then start adding yellow and red into it. But you ran into a problem that, this is blue, so I wouldn't add red and yellow and red simultaneously. I would be like, okay, I want to go a little bit more towards the cooler side. I would add only yellow ochre. I want to go a little bit more, or actually that would be a warmer side, adding a yellow, because we would turn to green. And I want to go a little cooler. I would add a red, because that's going to turn into purple. This comes from constantly, continuously practicing these things. Yeah, I know what you mean. And here's the thing. I didn't do like a pigment specific, because I'm not really that, these kind of, and another thing is when it comes to these things is what purpose this lecture serves, right? Because for me, as a painter, that I'm not, what I'm trying to say is that I am not a restorator. I'm not restorating any specific paintings after anybody else. But if I were a restorator, that's just the bread and butter for them, because they can't really just, oh, I'm going to feel my way around. No, you can't. You have to actually really go step by step and paint it that way. So if you're focusing on maybe color correcting or restoring existing paint, or if you want to correct your paintings that were broken, you should be a little bit more aware of what is happening with the pigments. Only because you wanna continuous kind of a pigment, not the continuous pigments. You want to have a how would I put this? You just want to get as close as possible to actual pigment that was laid down before it was damaged. If you want to restore it to its original state. Original state. So again, they should probably address these things as well. But since nobody really cares about this, being kind of honest about, oh yes, you're absolutely right, this makes sense, but it has a particular use. And like I said, for me, someone who couldn't even understand what color is, these color charts kind of help me to get that, the first step that has to be analytical for me. Unless I analytically understood what's happening, that I can't feel free to use it as I please. And then that freedom comes from that knowledge. I truly believe that, Michael Jordan, when let's talk about basketball spoiler, because I think Michael Jordan is probably the best example that I can come up right now. And if you don't know, Michael Jordan is like a very famous basketball player. They say that he's the greatest of all time, the GOAT. I might agree with that statement. I'm not really that big of a fan of basketball, but I know who Michael Jordan is, and I think that he was that good because of that enormous amount of practice. And when he gets to actual game, he could enjoy himself, not thinking about how I'm going to dribble, not thinking about how I'm going to shoot. He was thinking only about how am I going to beautifully lay that point down there. And that's, I think, what's happening with the pigments as well. For me, when it comes to painting, there is this 10-year period of just not hitting every shot possible, not hitting every mixture that I wanted, only to realize that, okay, but that's not the goal of painting, to be able to reproduce every pigment as I please. The only thing that I need to know it's the fact that then I can take that knowledge, and I don't want to say disregard it, but perhaps use it only as a guideline, and just fully express whatever I want. I kind of, like I said, it would be very difficult for me to go back to that stage when when it comes to anatomy, when it comes to these technical things, that I would again start with, I would sit down, and I remember there was a rigorous hours, and I was so annoyed by that. I would sit down and I would told myself, I have to understand how the color works. And by a process of elimination, I thought that I'm going to do every chart, and I'm going to make sure that I have every possible step nicely created, and then I'm going to mix two colors together, and so on and so forth. And it was part of the education as well, right? So I have to I had to bring it and show it that I did it. But then the problem that I found out is that I was relying too much on that, and I didn't want it to focus on actual painting. I was focusing on, I have to mix this color because I see that color, ergo it has to be there. That's not really what painting is about at this point for me. Yeah, I think everybody knows Michael Jordan. He's kind of a superstar. But regardless, it doesn't matter, if you like, I don't know, some other sport, let's say tennis. Roger Federer is for me Michael Jordan. When we talk about, I don't know, chess, because I'm a really big fan of chess. And this is going to be controversial, but for me, the best chess player ever, Mikhail Tal. It's just because he is the GOAT. For me, he's really not that known player, but when you get into chess, he was the GOAT, and for me. Not because he was the best player, but because you just enjoyed to watch or actually analyze what he was doing and how out there his mind was. And like you mentioned, at the end it has to be balanced. And again, if I don't know what to do, I can always rely on because it's still even right now, it's still in the back of my brain. Somewhere there, it was just, what if I just do the gradation from warm, saturated to cool, desaturated, this gradation, So I was like, okay, because I know that as I do these tiles into, you know, these little swatches, and as you go into a distance, that's how it looked with the form. But then I didn't, you know, I didn't pre-mix all these greens from high saturated value, darker value to low saturated, a lighter value as it recedes. I just pick up what I thought is going to work, and then I just, you know, placed it there. And right now I'm going to wait and see the result, right? So I still have it there in my brain. It's still part of the education that I can't get rid of, and I don't want to. I am relying on certain things from that really strictly analytical point of view and perspective. And let me just grab maybe what is I'm looking for my thin brush. Did I forgot to clean it and it's just dried out right now? That doesn't seem. No. Seriously? Okay. That doesn't sound right. Again, lost brushes. Someone comes to my studio and steal my brushes. I don't know why is he doing it. Oh, I left it here on another palette. Definitely not you. Well, I'm gonna. I just decided that I'm gonna trust you on that, but only for this time. I just need to. I'm. This is probably one of my. I don't know, problems, because I'm way too trustworthy. Well, no, I trust people way too much, and it was pointed out to me that it's not really always the best way. So what if we create a little bit more interesting shape? Would it be? Because again, everything goes straight up and down. So I think that I should push it a little bit more. I should push it a little bit more. So this is where the knee would be, a little higher. So I could kind of create a little lighter area right here, and again push it towards the hip. And then create the tension of a fabric right here as I'm looking at some draperies, and then maybe create a little, yeah, that might work actually. And then I could put the little shadow right here as well and push it with the shadow so it's kind of receding to the background. Well, let's try that. Let's see what's going to happen. I don't know if this is the shadow right here. And I have to be careful with these triangles again because this is repeating here and here and here everywhere. So maybe I could push this lower, connect it here, and then push it this way and this way. Let me see. Let me see. Let me wipe this preliminary. Drawing that I did here. And let me look into a slightly different shape. Let me just grab this guy right here. And I could go, yeah. It's all going to be dark right here, and then a little lighter right here. Let's try it. Let's see. And maybe I could make his clothes a little lighter. So let me just do this. Instead of just, again, going into shadows because I think that it's a little too dark. I'm going to hit it with slightly lighter values there. I can't really see. It's turning too much into a green, so let me hit it with a little bit of that vermilion there. Maybe even more. That kind of a neutral color. And this is where the knee would be. Perhaps. A lighter area right there. Maybe you should go even lower. Maybe I should push it a little lower. Okay, and then perhaps just a touch right here. A little closer maybe. And maybe I push the knee a little bit more this way. So I'm thinking right now in terms of I need to show that there is a underlying structure underneath that garment. That was kind of flattening it because it was just a bunch of triangles that they're, just. Yeah, and I can create this kind of here. Plus it felt that it's just way too dark, kind of. And let me hit it with this guy. This is a horrible brush for this thing that I want to do. Should probably go warmer. Yeah, it is horrible brush. But I could make it work. All right, and then I'm going to address this a little bit more. I'm just going to be a little bit more abstract right now. So I have this and that. Because it was just kind of a... It seems like you're painting with a knife today. Okay, I hope that it's a palette knife. But anyway, you can use a kitchen knife. It just doesn't matter. Let me mix a little bit more of this into it. Warm it up slightly. I'm going to model that. Model that knee a little bit. See, she just. Right now, I'm afraid that I'm going to have too much of the knees there. But if I push it here, let's see. Okay. The problem of this brush is that it's just there is a category of cheap brushes that they are not only cheap, but they're actually bad. And I think this one is not bad, but this is bad for oil painting because it's too soft, way too soft. Neutralize that a little bit. I want to reuse that older pigment there. So I'm mixing pigments right now because I can't just dab into them as freely as I wish to. Am I close to that previous mixture? I think I am. This is extremely soft. Anyway. More blue. I think it's too dark. It's good. have here, and there's going to be like these kind of a folds. And then, and this is again, you know, you would look at this and be like, why are you painting over and over the same area? Like I said, I'm not completely satisfied with the results. So. I'm trying to create a bit more interesting shape right here. A little bit of the randomness there. Okay. And then it should have like that. And then I'm going to go there into that green, but because this area, it's facing downwards, so I will reflect that green into it later on. And then I should maybe connect it, not maybe, I should connect it with this guy right here. Maybe. So I just have that continuation. So they're disconnected, but they're connected. Make it a little more consistent, because there is too much attention to these different and maybe I could push it here a little bit, yeah, and then here as well. Maybe even here. Right. And let's go a little bit more. So I'll just move that movement of the leg, and then maybe cut it here. soften it a little bit. So I push that a little bit more. And right now, you know, and this is something that I'm not happy exactly, but just pushing this forward and darkening this. But this is going to be, again, I darkened it because I need to see it, but there's going to be a green reflection here, which kind of softens it because it's reflecting into this. It kind of giving him a little bit more, that this part right here, it's kind of underneath, so it's giving you that kind of a, you can't see it, okay. So this kind of a vibe, you know, when you look from the profile, and it's something that is important for me. And then also I want to show the knee right here. So most likely, whole this area should go little darker, value or half value lower. So this is going to be prominent, sticking out. But it's not necessary. But right now it looks way more realistic to me. Only, again, because of the mistakes that I did with composing this, when everything is frontal. I didn't make a mistake with composing it. I just made it unnecessarily more difficult. And then I should probably push this darker because I want to show that this area right here is a little darker because it's just because this, let me just get a little bit more paint. Yeah, this brush cannot hold the paint properly. It's kind of annoying. So I push it here, then I could maybe, and then it's going to go right here. I want to create some kind of interesting areas to look at. And then also show that he's a that new that I created, that new little piece of cloth that I created there. So, yep, this one. But I want to push the diagonal, so I'm going to go a little darker here to push the diagonal. And maybe I should make a little bigger. This is a knee, and there is going to be dip right here. Further this way, and you can see I'm just this is the part of designing, but then I don't want to repeat. See, I repeated it because I repeated the same knee position right here, so I can't. I have to push it more this way. So I'm going to hide it a little bit. So I need more of this, and the blue. Let's go darker, and then I'm wider. Yes, it could be like that, just a little, just poking out a little bit of, you know, uneven. And then I could push this a little bit more in, or curve it a little bit more in, like a little darker value here. So what I'm doing right now, it's I'm kind of modeling his thigh underneath the cloth, underneath that cloth, right? So it feels a little bit more three-dimensional. Yeah, this is way better right now. And then perhaps I could push, oh, that would be cool. I could push a, you know, those, that monks, what they are wearing. I don't remember what the name of it is. And then I could cut it here, even lower. Oh yeah, I would definitely, the larger painting, I would probably start this way, that I pushed him a little bit more, like with the flowy. I'm thinking about right now, so if I introduce, because that's something that could help this static painting, the two static pillars, if I just blow the wind into them. I know I was experimenting with that a little bit here and there, and also on the other sketches, but I kind of, let's see. If I, and again, I just, last time on the Saturday when I was looking at that Vermeer, it kind of dawned onto me that this is what needs to be done. Perhaps this is like a missing part. And maybe I could just, I don't know right now if I should adjust these edges to make them a little bit more cleaner, or destroy these. And by destroy, I mean I just show wear and tear, because he looks like a, because there's this kind of a, I don't know, it's kind of a weird feeling that these two looks like a, like really destroyed, a wear and tear, almost like a, not like a pilgrims, but even further, like vagabonds almost. And this guy looks too, you know, again, the guy that is just redundancy, he looks a little bit more, he was not working enough, almost. I don't know how to say that. create that tension there. So I could maybe push it here a little bit more into that knee. So, you know, at the stretch of a fabric. And again, I'm not repainting it completely. I'm just, it's really, might be difficult to see on the canvas, but it's just that I'm trying to get a little bit more of that differences between materials. So movement. And what if I push this? Maybe I could just, maybe I could push that all the way here. I need more pigment. Let's see. This might work, and a little bit of that. Just a touch. Because I need to make it a little lighter. But I still want to keep the chroma there. But not full chroma, just like a halfway chroma. I don't know how to say it. Load the brush, and let's see. So I could create a fold like right here. Yeah, I'm looking at the kind of anatomy. Like this, where the this way. So that's all in the shadow, because it's being, you know, even casted by the figure next to him. Perhaps that would be better than keeping him in light. So I would define this edge a little bit more. And it goes here and all the way here. So I could push this. Right, so I'm pushing him a little darker. And then maybe I could create a little folds right here. So it's going to go this way, and then it could go up and back, like so. And this could be like a light. I'm going to push it a little lighter because it's a higher up. So it could go this way. And maybe a little something like right here. Give it a little bit more like a, make it a little lighter. And then maybe I could push it a little lower. And then then there would be that belt thingy. And we could maybe push it this way, swing it here, and right here. Yeah, that could work. But I should push this probably a little bit more. Right here. And the knee, it's going here. And then push the like darker value here. It's a little too much. Yep. Like to create a tension with the fabric, and I'm not trying to paint it perfectly. I'm just trying to create that feeling of, you know, and then this all could be in the shadow. This would be a cool brush if only it wouldn't be so soft. And then it could go here. So it starts from here, that shadow. Yep. And maybe it could be a little lighter here. And lighter here. Yeah, this can work. Yeah, to have a little bit more like these kind of a cool graphic shapes there. But then still, I have to figure out this area right here. And then maybe I should push it a little bit more. Right here. And this is, you know, I know that I'm just not really talking that much through this process, but I'm really focused on getting this right, because I would like to continue with the, with the painting. And I want to go a certain direction, and I think that this was long overdue. That I neglected this guy for a long time. So this would be a dark shape right there, and if I could push this a little lower, and more this way. I know, I'm sure that you are that you are here. I'm not worried about that. I'm just, I'm just getting quiet because I'm super focused right now. This is more like a designing part, and it takes time, enormous amount of time for me to design this properly, and not only just because of it's complicated, but also because I am not that good with costumes. It's taking too much of my brain power. I'm sorry. And I'm going to adjust this as well, even more. So it's going to go this way, up, and then this way here, and then down. So I'm creating a little bigger sleeve here, because I think that that's kind of important. And I felt that the sleeve is ready, but it isn't, because right now the sleeve is a problem. And he feels too thick because of this. Okay, I see. So maybe this should go all into a shadow. Perhaps that would be a way to go. So let's put this into shadow. Let's put this into shadow. And then this needs to go that way. So let me maybe push it. And right now, again, this is the stage where I have where I just have fun. Let me dry brush this a little bit, maybe a little bit of lighter value here. So this needs to go this way, cut into this way. right here. And then maybe go even lower down, like a secondary part right here. To divide them, to separate them. And then perhaps just a tiny bit, this might be a little too much, but let's see, and just tiny bit here. Tiny bit there. I'm trying to show that these are not connected, and it's just kind of asking me for a little bit of that. And that kind of pushes his body on that side because it's like bulging there. Which is, I think it's okay. I don't know, I don't see that will be a problem. But then I want something on the other side. Almost like here. See, this has nothing to do with, I just want to create something interesting. But then, again, it's from the both sides. It's equally a spread. Softening it a little bit. Actually, it was too dark, but I laid down a little too dark. The problem is right now, what I'm looking at, it's this right here. It just almost wants to have like something here. I don't know how to keep them connected and separate them at the same time. Let me hit it with a little bit more of this right here, the lighter value. And if I connect it as a one continuous shape, would that work? seemed like it wants to be a little bit more this way. Like so. And then I could push this right here on the book. Right here on the book. Push it there. There's again, I have a problem here because I'm going 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So it needs to be, adjusted. Here, and then push this one a little lower. Like that's the center part to make a little difference there. Make it a little lighter here. There would be his hand there. Soft transition, and then there will be a half tone here, rather than just, yep, to make it a little bit more, because there was too much of a separation of these. It was almost like again, I was making a same not mistake, but the same. You remember we talked about this, that the repetition. And perhaps this could go this way right here, and I can make a little darker value. Right here, so it's just kind of a Fortunately, I don't really like the yellow there right now. So let me adjust that. I'm thinking like what pigment or what do I have to do? Because even before this, remember I had the problem with this area right here. Because they're kind of connected. Maybe this should go lighter. Light right here. Lighter and a little bit greener. Because it is affected by the sunlight. I want to be a little bit more saturated. Like let's say here. And here as well. But this has to be a soft transition. It cannot be harsh transition, and maybe right here, because this is where the knee is going up, so make it here a little lighter. Because it seems that it's way too busy there, and that busyness sometimes just really work against me. And it should go here. Underneath should be. And there is a tangent right here. This should be a softer edge. And then softer edge. And softer edge. Softer edge. And maybe I should push like a really light value here, but then should I continue with the dark value there? That is a mistake. Maybe I should push it a little lower. think that I should have figured this out, or, you know, pay attention to this little sooner. Because it's kind of, because it almost wants me to repaint it completely. So I'm looking at this. I don't know what is happening here, but yeah, it looks way better right now. I think I need to put it upside down. I think. Let me see. Well, I'm looking for some ropes, not necessarily ropes, but you know, like a rope that kind of so I could use it as a belt for him, and that will give him immediate feeling of that's a monk, or I don't know, I don't remember, or I'm not sure rather, what was that, what would be the best, no, what would be the best? Would this be something that they would wear at that time? I think that they would. So we could just drape something right here to further exaggerate that pose. And then maybe I should throw this, and this is again just for fun, because this is going to be here, should be another rope that goes here. But they already look like they have too much clothes on them. Should even extend even more. Extend even more this way. See, this is a part that I haven't had figured out yet. I'm not sure right now. I'm kind of Let me think about it for a second, and probably I have to turn my canvas upside down since there's a dark here. Or maybe let me just turn on the light for a second, so I can see a little better, since this is really dark right now. So let's do a little experiment, because I was not really working that much with the color, or hue rather, and it's just okay, all right, no, it's okay, because I couldn't really see what's happening. The only problem that I have right now is that I have to push this a little bit forward and this lower part a little bit more into background. But it's starting to feel a little bit more, it's starting to feel a little bit more, a little bit closer to what I want. The problem that I have is actually, I don't know if you can see it, hopefully you can. Right now there is a really big glare on the palette, so let me turn off the light again. But I just need it for a second so I can see it. So there is this area right here, and it goes all the way down here till the sleeve that it's right here. And this edge right now, it doesn't feel that they are next to each other, that they are one in front of another or one behind another, but they looks like they're next to each other. And it's flattening the image. It's really, really making it look extremely flat. So I have to right now work with values and edges a little bit more to show that this is actually sticking forward and it's part of his garment, whereas it's a little bit more in the back. This area right here, this is, you know, almost like he's leaning on him, but there is a you know, the edge is a little too much, and it's another thing is that maybe it's because it has the same thickness right here, right? So it looks like another it's like a pigment next to a pigment next to a pigment next to a pigment, rather than just that illusion of distance. You think so? Okay, thanks. I appreciate it. I mean, it really, and again, it's not that much of a painting at this point. Rather, it's more about I don't even know how to. Again, I'm at the edge of my own understanding. But what I'm trying to say is that I am not necessarily painting that much right now. I am making a decisions, like a key decisions to move forward. And then I can again get to these smaller details, because I felt like his clothes and the overall feeling and shape was not active enough. And that's something to, again, when I say active, that kind of a tricky things to say. That is a tricky thing to say. And let me just go get a little bit more tea, and I'll get back to I'll get back to what I mean. I'll be right back. I'm just gonna get the tea. Just a second. right, so I'm back. Oh, okay, so what was I saying? I don't remember, but I thought that it's important, but obviously it isn't. So yeah, that's another thing that I'm looking at it right now, and maybe I could make him little. Well, theoretically, I could connect the shadows there. And I'm thinking out loud right now because I'm not sure how to approach this, truth to be told. This is something that I should really, these are the moments when I should really divide my full attention to this. The reason is that, the reason why I'm saying this is that there are decisions to be made that will then affect, you know, the overall result. What's the thickness of his? Yeah, that's what I thought, that this forearm is a little too thin. Compared to the other guy. So I think what needs to be done, I have to right now work on the hand and the book, because I won't be able to move forward. Because right now this is, I need to figure it out, the relationship between this garment right here and how to move it around. Not move it around, how to, you know, how to compose it so it doesn't fight against each other, so it has a kind of a nice flow. So maybe I should figure it out, the detailing that's going to be here on the book, separate the book from the background, because right now when I squint my eyes, all these things are connected through here, which is kind of flattening that image, and I don't want it to be flattened there. What I mean specifically right now, remember how I was talking about that idea of when we talked about Delacroix and the idea that everything is kind of in overcast setup, so everything is gray and there are no high contrast shadows there, only to reserve this for the composition and movement of the eye. That's something that right now I need to address and decide what to do and how to approach that, because I have this edge right here that bleeds into this, and then I have a shadow that bleeds into this shadow right here. So this is flat and this is flat, and it's hard for me to create a volume in this such small area of light, so it would look that he's not only leaning forward but also moving and kind of a leaning on that figure in the front. And the same thing is happening here. So I have a light and light value, they're kind of connecting, so they're blending together rather than just being separated. So I have to play a little bit with silhouettes right now. And by silhouettes, I talked about this with Vermeer, that there are edges on his painting. We were talking about that, if you remember, it was that women pouring the milk. I don't know how it's called, I should probably check that. And I was showing you that, the edges and how they change. There are edges that they are lost, and there are edges that they are sharper. They were still soft, but there was a value difference. Therefore, they appeared like they were disconnected from the background. So there's something that these are the decisions that I have to make. Otherwise, it's not going to, I cannot move forward. And you should look into your work as well and ask yourself these difficult questions that, what am I going to do? How am I going to make the adjustments so it would improve a painting rather than just, I am adding more detail because it's expected to have more detail. That's probably one of the most important parts that at this stage I need to pay a little bit more attention. So here's what I need to do. I need to figure it out. I'm just going to lay down it for myself. First, I don't like the shape of this right here. It bothered me from the moment I started. I have it slightly different there, but you can see that I'm silhouetting it by making this area a little lighter. I don't know if you can see it. I hope that you can. I'm making this area a little lighter, so this just pops forward a little bit more, even though this is a fairly dark value. I should do the same thing around here, but then it's kind of fighting with that. Well, maybe I could do that. Maybe I could silhouette it really, really hard without actually creating a soft edge there. Maybe this should be that, milkmaid part. And maybe I could, okay, all right. So let's do this. Let's connect this across right here. And this could kind of a jump out from there. There might be another problem that I have a 1, 2, 3, and I want to go, oops. Yep. Yeah, let's do that. Let's cut it out there. So this is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm thinking. I'm just going to grab my charcoal. So I'm going to go from here, this area, where the rope is, right? It's going to go here. It's going to go underneath this little fold right here. And then it's going to appear right here, just a little bit. Maybe even, like maybe even a little further. It's going to appear right here. And I'm going to drape this out of that, like so. I'm going to make a little space right here, create a nice edge right here, let's say like so. So it's sticking out there. Yeah. Let's see, but this is something that I really have to, let's see what's going to happen, because I'm not sure about, about so that's going to be there. Yeah. Okay. That might actually work. And since this is going to be super saturated area, this is going to be super dark area, I can put desaturated or low chroma rather. Part right there. I think that's what needs to be addressed right now. No, not necessarily maybe right now, but as soon as possible, because I think that that kind of is that area is kind of holding it back right now. Let me see the mirror reflection one more time. Where's the mirror? Where is the mirror? Yeah, because this figure is right now, it needs to be thinner. Maybe just a sliver or smidge right here. Because it's compositionally right now when I'm looking at that, it's a little too much. He's like, and then I'm going back here. So this is taking too much attention right now. Yeah. So let me scrape this. Again, no worries, this is painting, so I can repaint it. But you can see that, you know, remember I talked about the decision making, right? And I made this quick decision Saturday. I just put it there, which wasn't a bad idea. It's just, I don't think that I accounted for the fact that I need to adjust the knee and this position right now. And I think that that might have been a little too rush. So remember, I talked about this a lot. You know, actually, I still talk about it a lot, all the time. How certain decisions are really critical to your painting. And again, I'm just not going to stop with these stupid ideas, and I'm just going to hit this with the red, with a little bit more saturation. Because I need to punch that saturation a little bit. I know it's too red. I got it. But it's only because I'm going to use this red that I'm laying down right now as that under painting, or you know, imprimatura, if you wish. So I can start punching these colors a little bit more. because it's time to get a little bit more color into this. And I think that we have these grays, blues, yellows, we have greens, we have oranges, and we don't have reds. And if I push this really, really, really red, then suddenly everything, that all the redness in the faces is just going to disappear, because this is not going to be the highest contrast. Here is going to be the full power of the red. And it's going to look weird for a second, remember, as with that sky, but I need to punch it, I need to push it a little bit more forward. And I don't have any other option at this point. Just do that. And then I'm going to do really light value of that belt. And then I'm going to drape it down right here. So I'm going to create a kind of a V shape right here. That I kind of lost because I adjusted his leg, but I still want to keep that V shape for composition. Yeah, the camera is trying to really deal with the darkness here, and the ISO must be through the roof. So I see the graininess of an image, because it's really dark here. I think I have to stop today. Yeah. Because I don't think that I'm able to continue working, under these light conditions. Let me then maybe switch it upside down and check it how it looks. Yep. This is still wet. Doesn't want to dry very well. Okay, I need to see it upside down. All right, okay. Yeah. Not bad. It still reads okay, even though it's upside down. That's not bad. Yeah, see, like this is, for instance, this is really, really good right now. And it reads very well. The stuff that we did with the hair, right? So if we push this little lighter, just a little bit, then little lighter right here, and this dissolve in the back. That's that kind of a milk, the women pouring milk effect, working pretty good actually. It's not the best portrait to look at, but it works very, very well. Also, this guy works very well right now. With that darker value, because I can lighten this up a little bit more. It's going to push even more forward, and then I have to put this, I have to start working on that pole right there. It's going to be important. And I can still push this even more saturated around here, and that would, that would push it further even more. Yeah. And then when you look at the ground plane, the fact that we just push it a little bit more saturated on the bottom, and it as it progresses into center of canvas, is just losing that vibrancy. It helps kind of, you know, it's kind of a, they're putting these two figures right here onto a main stage, and as it recedes into a background, they kind of dissolve into one thing, which is again helping that which is helping to support that idea of, you know, something going into a distance. This might be maybe too light, so perhaps keep it desaturated but make it a little darker would help. And then again, I have to punch this a little lighter because I can see that right now this needs to go way lighter. These fingers needs to go way lighter in areas. This needs to go lighter. This is the main. It cannot be as light as this, but somewhere around here it should be here as well. So I'm going to push that as well. But perhaps I'm not going to be pushing this that much because it's a little bit more inside, but I'll do it right here. Yeah, it's slowly getting better. I'm quite surprised. I'm quite surprised. Yeah, and I think another problem was that I wanted to put more and more detail into this guy, and he needs to be as flat as possible. And I thought that he needs to be three-dimensional. No, this needs to be as flat, because if I put more interest here, like the folds and so on and so forth, it's going to fight with this and this, with this ultimately. And if I have it flat and flat from both sides, these two figures are going to kind of naturally steps out. Good stuff today, actually, when it comes to analysis. So, you know, like I said, this is not only about the painting. I really, again, I didn't paint this that much today, but we got more issues resolved than I would expect from just sitting down and painting. And it's, again, I would probably come to studio as any other day, and I would start painting, and I would continue painting till I could, or till the end of the day. But since the bad weather forced me to, not bad weather, it's not the bad weather, it's just it's a really dark day. So since I have these really, really dark days right now, I have to work a little bit more with tone and less with color, and a little bit more with design, which is awesome because it's kind of forcing me to create a little bit more of that abstract shape design kind of decisions. So, like I said, if you feel, or if you have a feeling that you are not really painting, don't worry about that. It's not always only about the painting. It's also making these decisions. And you know, you might be quicker than I am with decisions, and I'm pretty sure that you are. It's just me that's super slow because I'm, you know, analyzing it maybe a little too much. But that it's not over analyzing as we discussed last time. It's more about I'm analyzing it not only for this painting, but for every another painting that I'm going to work on. And I'm analyzing it from point of view where I'm looking at these problems that I have right now. And these problems, like this part, needs to be solved in the preliminary sketch. It absolutely have to be solved in the preliminary sketch to the point that I am not going to change it as much as I change it from this to this. And then again, I wouldn't ever be able to know how to properly conduct the sketch or how to create the sketch unless I, unless I experience this. Better than Saturday? It's okay. It's, don't worry about that. It's just, don't put yourself under the pressure. We talked about this, and maybe, because again, I had something already existing here at the beginning of this stream, but then I completely changed this. I mean, if you start watching it from beginning till to the end, I just skip from the beginning to the moment when I switch to put it upside down. You would see how drastic that decision was, and I should have done that decision before I did this, I think. And again, I have to make this area right here, I'm thinking about what to do with this, I have to make this a little less complicated, because look at it, I have all the attention right now, right here, and I want to keep it there. But then this is a very complicated part. I have multiple different fabrics, multiple different things that are happening, and I'm doing the same thing right here. It's just way too much. And then also, this is a difficult area because it's a knee, it's foreshortened, it's slightly, it's going underneath him. There is no reason for me to do that. And then, the area that I should probably develop a little bit more is right now just a straight line. And it bothers me, so I have to put some design folds right here, and then the designs right here. But they cannot be the same than the designs on the other side, if that makes sense. So, yeah. But we are getting there. I'm pretty sure that we are getting there. It was a long process, and I'm feeling okay, not with the painting, but with the decisions. And it's a constant reminder. You remember how much time I spent with on a really bad painting Friday. I had those 3 images. I had, what was it? I had there Vermeer, Velázquez, and I think it was Bouguereau, if I'm not mistaken. Was it the Bouguereau? I believe it was Bouguereau. And I was showing you these differences that between Velázquez, Vermeer, and Bouguereau, all incredibly talented painters, masters of talented, beyond the talent, beyond almost like like when it comes to art, I would call them masters is probably, it's a genius territory. Well, that's what I'm trying to say, and that analysis was so important for me. In order to make these decisions. So I was not painting on this particular painting on really bad painting Friday, but everything that I was talking about, everything that I was internalizing was applied today here. So when you really think about it, I was not painting, but I was still working on that painting. And that's something that you really have to take into consideration, and don't think that, oh, I didn't paint very well yesterday. Well, maybe you were not painting as good as, today, but you were still making decisions that they are important, and they were important for you because they showed you certain problems today. So, it's that, I talked about the mistakes, and I promised that I'm not going to use the word mistakes, because these are not mistakes. These are unnecessary placeholders, unnecessary exploration in order for us to understand whether we are heading towards the right direction, or we're on the right course. So yeah, I am not going to prolong this any longer, because I don't think it makes sense for me to continue. It was a cool day today. I have to say, I was. I'm pleased, not with the painting, but with these decisions that, at least right now, it's something that I struggle with even in my outside of the studio life, and that's that. What would be the good example? A doctor, right? I'm afraid to go to a doctor because I'm afraid what he or she is going to tell me, and that's something that's irrational fear of something that I don't know, or unknown in this particular case. And same goes for, I'm not saying that it's as important as your health, but it's the same principle. I'm afraid to do a certain changes because I don't know. I'm afraid that I'm going to destroy what I painted, and I thought that it was painted relatively okay. And that's what's holding me back a lot. But you have that really bad painting Friday moments when you just let loose and you explore these things, and you are just then so annoyed by, why haven't I done this month ago? And I should have done this month ago. I should have just sit down, figure this out, move these things around, put it there, make sure that I'm satisfied with it. And not just leave it unresolved, unfinished. But that's the nature of my brain. I can't really help myself. You really have to do, like I said, even today, I think this was a bad painting Friday on Monday. Because I did some, not rush, but, I did, I love that educated wish. I make this educated wish. And I knew that this needs to be changed. I didn't necessarily, I wasn't expected to be this way, but I knew that it had to go. It had to go. Yeah. So every day we're closer to finishing this. And I had, another thing is I had to make this decision because this needs to be done by the Christmas. It needs to be done. And then the commission needs to be done by first half of December, and that NDA, non-disclosure, that I have, it needs to be done by December 11th. So there is no time for lying to myself that everything is everything has its time, yes, but then there is a difference between I want to take time with this painting, and I am procrastinating and I'm just repainting one thing over and over again, or just adjusting the same thing, right? So this is something to really think about, and look at your painting and ask yourself, like, what decisions I have to do in order for me to move this painting forward. Yeah. that will be something to leave you with by by the at the end of this stream. And I'm going to clean my brushes, and I won't be able to work on this today anymore. But tomorrow, perhaps, if I will have time, I might start sooner. Let me see, to get a little bit more of that daylight. So instead of going from 12 to 4, maybe we can push it from, I don't know, we can start at 10 to 2 perhaps. I don't know. Well, let me see, because it's kind of might conflict with my other schedule and other work. So, but it was cool day today, and I think that there were some low points, but then it doesn't really matter, because we're having fun, hopefully. So I hope that you enjoyed this stream. I hope that you're going to join me tomorrow, and good luck with your project, and make sure that you enjoy the process as much as you can. I know that it sounds so stupid. I know that it's just such a cliche to say, but it's so refreshing. It's just you just suddenly feel that you can fly, because you just the pressure from the the surrounding environment just goes away. So it's like a meditation in some sense. So enjoy it, and I'll see you tomorrow. All right, take care. Bye.